Hefty Bag puts in the new best time of the session with a 32.422. Put that racing point on provisional pole. Hefty Bag. Hefty Bag. I would like to remind everybody, mostly Hefty Bag, so I can make fun of him for it, that Hefty has still not finished a race yet in this F1 season. Even though I've praised him a lot on his pace, he just doesn't have the consistency to be able to continue doing well. Dilsack and Honos have put in their first flying laps as well. As Breezy puts in a 132.384, goes up into provisional pole and immediately gets taken away by Sinister Owl in the Renault. He has a 132.307, very close up at the top of the timesheets.
So what should be really emphasized in this race is the fact that this could be the determining race for the championship. If Sniffer Pig wins this race or any of the next three, he will have the championship no matter what.
Yeah, if Sniffer Pig, the points gap is 9 points. So if Sniffer Pig outscores Pecan, or the gap is 59 points. And if Sniffer Pig outscores Pecan in this race, he is the World Drivers Champion in the UDL F1 League. Little Space Hero puts in a time to go up into P5 at 133.5. Kill the Birdman in P6.
Greco has a spin coming out of turn 1.
Greco seems like he's a little bit rusty on the sticks here.
It's been a while.
Oh, man.
So one thing that's interesting is we have 4 drivers starting the session on medium tires instead of softs. Highest placed one of those is Hanos in 8th.
That's been a reoccurring theme throughout the season. Not sure the exact reasoning. It could be just for testing qualifying, but you have multiple levels. And on the medium, so they can start there, but it hasn't seemed to work out that much within the season. So.
And we have really been able to tell at tracks where you have to two-stop, it is beneficial for the drivers to start on those mediums or even the hards. But on tracks where you have to one-stop, it is not beneficial whatsoever. Except for the soft tire stint at the end with less fuel, that can be beneficial, but I don't think it's worth the amount of track position you're losing compared to everybody else on track.
I could not agree more. It's shown time and time again throughout this season that track position is key in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. Dollar High pulls into the pit lane. While we were talking, Real Space Hero goes into P5. I think I might have already said this, but I don't remember. So I'll say it again if I already did. And the last person on a flying lap is Zeus, but he is 7/10 off, so I believe this will be an end lap and he will be coming to the pit lane.
Very, a lot of pit lane activity on this lap.
And indeed, Zeus comes in.
I will mention the battle for P3 in the championship. Very close battle. Breezy is currently in P3 in the Williams with 118 points. Bossman is in P4 with 106. Real Space Hero is in P5 with 96. And Sinister Owl in the other Renault has 91 points. So this is a very close battle for P3 in the championship. And P3 means a lot. For next season, all of the drivers will have their choice in the top 10 for who their teammate will be next season if they choose to return. So, the higher up in the championship you are, the better chance you have of getting the person you want to race with. So this P3 matters a lot for these drivers.
Very important.
And I'm sure Snipper Pig and Pecan have already decided who they want to be their partners for this next year's championship. But all the drivers below that, they don't know who they could possibly get for next season.
I have started to hear some rumors about the potential teams, and next season is going to be very interesting.
I couldn't agree any more. The teams that I am hearing are absolutely insane. We have a few drivers moving teams to race for different teams and try to win championships in the most iconic team. But I won't spoil too much for you. I'll let you all figure that one out in next year's championship. So your Boconos coming around the final corner to start another flying lap. Pecan goes up into P5 with a 133.2. Boconos goes up into P9 with a 134.129. See who's at towards the end of their current flying lap. Looks like Breezy just started his hefty bag. Is in the final sector. He's about even after the second sector, about 600ths up.
Yeah, I've been watching him this lap. He's been pretty smooth and consistent all throughout the lap. Had to deal with a car pulling off to the side, let him by. But other than that, it's been a very clean and collective lap for Hefty.
As soon as you said that, he had a little bit of snap oversteer coming out of turn 14. So, and
he abandoned the lap.
And he hits the end of the pit lane. So, the commentator's curse hits Hefty Bag hard there.
And I'll tell you what, he's not the only one who's been struggling with pit entry.
Yeah, the pit entry here at Coda is very tough.
On the second lap, I want to say it was Boconos had missed pit entry and drove it right into the wall.
Snipper Pig goes a 132.050, put himself up into P1, and Bossman puts in a 132.822 to put himself in a P5. A good qualifying performance out of the two Renaults so far.
The Renaults have been extremely consistent throughout the season. Even with the bad luck of Sinister Owl, the Renaults have just had really good overall positions.
Wow, and one thing that's interesting right now is the games of finding track position, as both a Mercedes and another car, I did not get the number of it, they pulled off to the side at the exit of turn 18, let a couple cars through, and were just sitting there for about 20 seconds waiting for a gap on track.
Yeah, getting a good gap around here is definitely something that you really need. We all know that this track can be very tough with the dirty air because of that first and second sector. So dirty air around here can be very harsh on these cars, and so being in the dirty air is not something you really want to have to be an issue.
Yeah, the first and second sectors are very strange, especially the first being, like, the S's, they start and, you know, they're normal S's, but then they kind of stop for a second and then they get tighter, which if you were in the dirty air, it's very, very difficult to maintain apexes and stuff like that. It's very difficult.
The only driver to have not set a qualifying lap so far in this session is the new McLaren driver of Ref Josh. Everybody else has set a time, either a banker or a normal time, as Real Space Hero puts in a time 1,000 slower than his last lap at a 133.466.
Tell you what,
so,
guy,
Real Space Hero has got the
Breezy is on a flyer.
Yep, and the final corner.
Gets good exit, and there we go, to the pole.
Wow, a 131.884 for Breezy in that Williams. First driver into the 131 bracket. Now he's going to be making all those drivers sweat that he was battling with then to see if they can get on pole position instead of the Williams driver of Breezy. Sinister Owl and Bossman and Real Space Hero are really going to be wanting to try to keep him away from that pole position because they're really trying to get that P3 away from Breezy.
Dollarhide coming up, and he dives into the pit lane.
And he misses the pit lane. He hits the wall. And now pulls into the pit lane. He's very lucky to have not gotten disqualified there because he did reverse on the track. And I know that feeling all too well.
I do too, from my experiences in Formula 2.
Trying to find another driver to watch that's coming up to the line, but it looks like all of them. Ref Josh gets into a huge gaggle there. One of the racing points, I believe it was Hefty Bag, going slow on track, and there was a huge gaggle of cars that Ref Josh was trying to get through while on his flyer. And I feel like this might have compromised him quite a bit, although he has just hit the 1:33 mark in Sector 3, so this might have just been a cooldown lap.
And one thing of note, now that it's coming down to crunch time with only about 2.5 minutes left, people are getting ready for their final runs. Everyone is now on the soft tires, and everyone has bailed on the medium tire strategy.
I don't blame them at all. Let's see if Greco can improve on his time. He's about 24 seconds off pace, so he needs to step it up a little bit if he wants to get a good, competent lap on the board. Nah, he already was in 6th. We just missed it.
Oh, okay.
He came across the line then, and he was 24 seconds off of his last lap.
Oh, well then. Last I saw him, he was in 16th. Not bad gaps between these drivers from 1st to 16th.
We've got Pecan coming through turn 19 now to finish his second to last flying lap. He might be able to get another one in. Oh, no, he won't be able to get more than one more in. He goes a 132.610, but next time he crosses the line will be the last for him.
I'm looking at this this track from my prior experiences running WEC, and I could not imagine like how difficult this must be with how big these cars are, and you know, it being a sprint race, you got to make those moves a lot faster. I can't imagine what these guys are going to go throughout this race.
Yeah, this is going to be a race and a half. Hefty Bag goes up in a P3 for the Racing Point team with a 132.273. This might be his best qualifying performance of the year upcoming here. We'll see how it goes. See if we can find somebody else to watch. Bossman coming up towards the final corner now in that Renault as the Mercedes in front of him crosses the line. Let's see what Bossman can do. That was a cooldown lap. He's going for a flyer this time around. Real Space Hero comes across the line to start a flying lap. Almost everybody's on a flying lap. Bokonos puts in a time of 133.554, puts himself back up into P9, as now the session has ended. So now is where the real fun starts. Breezy will not set another flying lap. Hey, he just crossed the line, so I'm sure he just decided that was enough for him. That's a reoccurring theme for Bokonos. Sinister Owl spins in the penultimate corner. Very, very unlucky for Sinister. So driver went past as I was watching him, but I'm not sure who it was. See if I can find somebody else to follow coming through the final sector. Birdman coming around the final corner. He goes up in a P8 for that Toro Rosso team with a 133.086. Diltek stopped on track to let everybody go through.
Snipper Pig in the final sector, looking to take that pole position away from Breezy.
Let's watch Snipper Pig as he comes into the penultimate corner now. And now towards this final corner, and he pulls into the pit lane, so his lap was invalidated. So the hopes of getting Breezy off of pole position will come down to Bossman here. Bossman,
not quite.
He's 0.3 off there. He lost a lot of time in the final sector. Greco is slow on track, and so is Dilsack. So this means that Breezy, with his second consecutive pole position here in the UDL F1 League, the only driver in 1 minute 31 bracket here with a 1 minute 31.884 Sipper Pig. And a nice P2 for him. He will really be looking forward to just holding in that position as much as possible and having a clean race, just so that he can wrap up this championship here today. And Hefty Bag with his best qualifying to date in P3. That was a qualifying session. A very good one, in fact. Wow.
Very impressive for Breezy.
Yeah, very good time there from Breezy, and this is exactly what he needs for his championship fight. So Breezy puts it on pole position here for the second week in a row for that Williams team with a 131.884 Super Pig in P2, Hefty Bag in P3, Sinister Owl for Renault in P4, Pecan, one of the two championship contenders in P5. He's going to be looking to get all the way up to P1 if he wants any chance of winning this championship. He has to win all 3 races in the last part of this championship to even have a chance to win this championship. Bossman is in P6. Greco in P7 on his return. Kill the Birdman also returning to the grid is in P8 for Toro Rosso. Real Space Hero in a lowly 9th place for that Red Bull. Bokonos is rounding out the top 10 on the Mercedes. Zeus in the other Ferrari is in 11th. Dollar Hyde 12th. Dilsack in 13th in his return. Glen Coco in P14. Honos in a very lowly P15 on the mediums. Drew Yu is in P16 on Racing Point. And the only driver to not set a time was Ref Josh in the McLaren.
Interestingly, Renault is looking like the best team with both of their cars inside the top 6. Only 2 other teams have both of their cars inside the top 10, so Renault could be looking to score some more points to secure their position in the Constructors' Championship here.
Renault and Williams do have a very close battle, but then Williams and McLaren also have a really close battle. So now we're going to leave this lobby so that we can start up the race lobby with the regular corner cutting stringicity. Renault and Williams, as well as McLaren, have a very close points battle here, as well as Haas. So Renault has 221 points in P3 in that Constructors' Championship. Williams on 193 points. McLaren at 189. Very close for P4. And then Haas in P6 in the Constructors' Championship with 170. So all these teams are really going to be looking forward to trying to have the best final few races of the season they can possibly have, so that they can take any advantages that they can and try to snatch up that P3 in the Constructors' Championship. It is blown wide open for these drivers. Red Bull Racing is on top of the Constructors' Championship at 435 points, and Ferrari in P2 with 372. So now I'm going to see if we can get an interview or 2. Or 4.
Would be preferable.
I know Hefty Bag will, so I'm just going to go ahead and invite him. Yeah, he's the first one to say me, so I'll invite him to the party. Sinister wants one. He said me twice, so he'll be coming after Hefty, because Hefty said it once, Sinister said it twice. Oh, I can't wait for this race to start. So while we're waiting for Hefty Bag, Dylan, what is your predicted top 3 on the podium for this UDL League race?
Being on the outside, I might not have as much experience and have seen the drivers throughout the season, but tell you what, Breezy looked awfully strong in qualifying. Add to that, Hefty looked pretty consistent throughout the sectors, and so did Snipper, so those are going to be my top 3 on the podium.
As now here we have Hefty in the party for his weekly interview. Hefty, that was your best qualifying performance to date in a strong P3. How are you feeling after that one?
That was just a statement quali, and that's about it. That's all it was for.
Yeah,
just wanted to out-quali Cine. I can retire from the league now.
You really needed to get a good qualifying session under your belt. You've really been struggling in qualifying, and that in turn leaves you in a terrible position for the race. So another question for you: are you planning on finishing this race, and where do you plan to finish?
As always, it is the plan, but with my ERS technical difficulties that I will be experiencing this week, we will try our best to finish in the points. That's
and
about
what
it.
are these technical difficulties? Is it a problem
for some
with the
reason,
team, or?
Yeah, something happened during the quali session and they can't get it fixed, so I'm gonna be stuck running auto.
Okay.
So how are the team spirits
hold on.
going?
First I'm blaming Drew. I think he sabotaged me, but we'll see.
How are the team spirits in Racing Point? Are they at an all-time high or an all-time low right now?
Oh yeah, it is. The camaraderie is awesome. We are aiming for a 1-2 yet again here.
Yeah, you guys came really close in Mexico to a 1-2, but it just didn't come to be.
This is the one.
So hopefully you guys can get it under your belts this time around. I will say, Drew, you will have to have a really heroic performance as he qualified in P16, last of the people to set a qualifying lap. So might just have to step it up, but he has scored almost every he has scored all but 1 point for this Racing Point team so far this season. So
how many points do we have?
Let me check actually. So Racing Point is in last in the Constructors Championship with 35 points. So are you looking to get out of last place? Toro Rosso is in P9 and Constructors at 48 points. So are you looking to overtake Toro Rosso here in the last few races?
Absolutely. That's the plan.
And Hefty, I know this is a soft spot for you, but currently you are last in the point standings with 1 solitary point.
I'm not concerned because I joined the league with about 8 races left to go because I was in the middle of winning a driver's championship beforehand. So
I would like to point out that your only point did come in a Belgian GP where you retired from the race, but you retired in P10, and so therefore you did get a point.
And it was, truthfully, we don't want to say it was a part of our strategy, but it was something a part of the conversation that we had. For anybody at home, do not fear. Racing Point does have everything under control.
Just one quick thing before I'd like you to head out so I can get somebody else in here for their interview. Sinister Owl says that you have a really nice way with your words. Anyways, thank you for joining us once again, Hefty, for your weekly interview.
Alrighty.
I really appreciate it. Good luck to you and have fun, and please don't retire.
Thank you. That's kind of the goal. Maybe not. We'll see.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and now get out of here. So there was Hefty Bag, one of the most lovable people in the league for sure. So now we're gonna get to one of the other lovable people. See, Hefty loves us so much he joined back. Sinister Owl has He does not have 7 seconds for an interview. Let's see if Sinister joins. Sinister Owl is now with us here for his weekly interview. Sinister, you had a really strong qualifying there in P4. So how are you feeling for this race looking forward, and how do you think your podium chances are here in COTA?
Since Hefty uses no ERS, I should be able to get him, unless, you know, I spin out, which is the Sinister Owl away. So we might get a podium. I don't think that we're going to win because Breezy said he's bad at COTA, and we saw how that worked out for us. But I don't think I'm going to win, but I think I might be able to scoop up third off of Hefty Bag, who somehow found 5.5 seconds within an hour. Y'all might want to check that out, because no human being learns to go 5.5 seconds faster within a half an hour. So if I were y'all,
I can vouch for Hefty. I have done it.
Congratulations. He's not you. He's not talented. So,
all right. So, Sinister, good luck to you. Have fun, and please don't spin.
All right. Bye.
All right, there was Sinister Owl. The highest IQ in the league. So now we're getting ready for the race. All the drivers are picking their strategies and their setups.
One thing
here we have the...
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to make fun of the in-game announcer.
I mean, we always have to thank the local track for their hospitality, and they have their own announcing crew here on site, and we appreciate the hospitality they have shown us.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful track here. I will say this isn't current spec COTA as the current spec of COTA. It does have a few ski jumps, so these drivers should be pretty happy to not have to drive over that. So go ahead and say your point before we start.
As the formation lap begins, one thing that you can see as they head up into turn 1, there are endless lines, and it is very wide and inviting, but you can see as they come through here on the exit how it tightens up, and it's very daunting to get through there, as they can spread out sometimes 5, maybe even 6 wide, depending on the race, and they have to funnel down into these tight and narrow S's.
Yeah, these S's are very tough to take 2 wide, much less 4 wide, so these drivers are really going to have to pick their battles here on this first lap, especially through that first sector. So, John, who is your predicted podium for this USGP?
All right. So, for me, my predicted podium is going to be Breezy on the top spot on the podium. I think Snipperpig's going to keep it in second. He doesn't feel any need to go any further. And I think Pecan will roll it up to third.
Pecan has to be on a mission here. Like I said earlier, if Snipperpig outscores him by 3 solitary points in this race, if Snipperpig outscores Pecan at all in this race, Snipperpig has won the Drivers' Championship.
There is a lot of stress on Pecan in this race.
My predicted top 3 for this race, I believe will be as the Mercedes. I don't know who that is, but they decided they're on pole position.
Bocanos.
As I believe that Breezy will bring it home in P1. I predict that Bossman will get a flyer of a start, go from P6 to P2, and finish lap 28 in P2. And I believe Snipperpig will hold on to that podium position and stay in P3.
Fair predictions.
But I will say, I believe Pecan will be in P4, and that will be an intense battle between Snipperpig and Pecan. Basically the championship battle. As now, here come the lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights are on, and the lights are out, and away we go. Pecan jumps to start. Huge penalty for Pecan. He has to do a drive-through penalty. He's looking to the outside of Breezy into turn 1, and it looks like he's going to go wide, so he's going to get relegated down into P2, but he's going to have a drive-through penalty. Doesn't seem like there were any incidents in turn 1, but that is huge controversy for Pecan and a huge upset for him, as he's going to have to take that drive-through penalty here in the first 3 laps. Greco goes a little bit wide through the first part of that section. Hefty Bag gets a shocker of a start, and he spins. Hefty Bag spins, and he drops all the way down into P12. We got Real Space Hero as well, and there's a pile up there in the bottom positions. Real Space Hero, a 5-second time penalty for a severe collision with Dilsack. Huge disappointment for him. And now we'll jump back up to the front of this race. Breezy still on point. Pecan in P2 and Snipperpig in P3, but once again, Pecan has that looming penalty over his head.
Yeah, it looked like Bossman and Real Space Hero both had sympathy spins back there.
That jump start, honestly, may have just cost Pecan the championship right there.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a huge detriment, and that'll be at least a 26 to 30 second gap he's going to have to make up. So huge disappointment here for Pecan. Is now the first lap will be coming to an end. Sinister Owl goes a little bit wide through turn 19. Thankfully, those sponsorship boards aren't there for them to hit and break their front wing on. It's now coming up into turn 1. Snipperpig is on the inside of Pecan through turn 1, but Pecan does a very good job of defending and stays in P2. Honos goes into the pit lane as well as Real Space Hero to get a new front wing. So now they go single file through the S's.
All Pecan can do right now is just try and gain a massive gap before he has to take that.
Yeah, the best thing he can do right now is just take advantage of his softs being fresh. Because whenever he goes into that pit lane, his softs are going to cool off, and then once you have worn tires on the car, it's really hard for them to get turned back on. So, huge disappointment for him. Now this is a very weird camera angle on top of the rear wing of these cars.
Yes, it is odd, but I do like the arrow view.
They were very close going down in that hairpin, almost nose to tail. Thankfully, they got through there without any sorts of bumps and scratches. This is a very close battle for P1 right now.
Yes, it is.
So this is lap 2, the finish of lap 2, so Pecan either has to pit this lap or next lap. Sinister Owl goes very wide there in turn 18 as well as in turn 19. Sinister Owl is going to have to pay attention to those track limits just a little bit more as he goes wide once again in the final corner. Snipperpig looks to the inside, but not quite close enough on this occasion to try to make a move onto Pecan. The yellow flag in Sector 3, Dilsack has spun.
He missed pit entrance. He had wing damage after that first lap. He tried to stay out with it and decided after a full flying lap it was too much to handle and has to come and get a replacement.
It should be said, Ref Josh has moved his way all the way up to 10th position.
Yeah, with all of the moments that have been had in this first couple of laps, Ref Josh has really made the most of it. Now he's battled his way all the way up into P10 and battling for P9 as Pecan is looking to the left-hand side of Breezy to take the lead of this race, and Snipperpig might make it 3 wide down into this hairpin. Pecan clears Breezy, and Snipperpig will be on the inside of Breezy, but Breezy just barely holds onto it around the outside and will keep Snipperpig from taking that P2 away, which is really a net P1. But in all of this, I never noticed this, but Bossman is all the way down in P12. My pick my pick for the underdog in this race, getting all the way up to P3, has a huge task on his hands.
Tell you what, guys, the battle for 8th is a dandy. We got Glen Coco and all the way, even up ahead, Zeus and Bokanos battling for 6. They're not that far ahead of this battle. They're going 2, almost 3 wide down the back straight on this lap.
Wow, they are definitely all close together. Dollar Hyde is going to be looking to the inside, coming up to the first corner. Pecan is now coming out of the pit lane after his penalty. He rejoins in P12. Huge disappointment for them. It then goes back up into P11 as he passes Kill the Birdman in turn 1. Ref Josh. Oh, Glen Coco spins and puts it in the wall.
Ooh.
Glen Coco
gets collected by Hefty too.
And gets collected by Hefty Bag. So Hefty Bag and Glenn will most likely be coming into the pit lane to get yet another front wing. Breezy and Snipper Pig side by side. Snipper Pig looking to get this move done into the hairpin, and he has gotten it done. So Snipper Pig into first position. The championship leader and most likely the championship winner after Pecan's start. But then Zeus and Greco side by side through this section. Beautiful racing out of these two drivers. Zeus backs out of it, gets the undercut. Now he'll be going all the way around the outside. A little bit of contact. Greco trying to hold on to it on the inside. Zeus going all the way around the outside in that Ferrari. Let's see if he can hold on to it. And he does. An amazing overtake. But then Greco comes back to the inside for the final corner. And he will get the move done. But now Zeus will have the undercut back on him. But it's just a little too late. And Greco will have the DRS on the Ferrari. But we know the Ferrari has the straight line speed. Zeus looking up the inside to turn 1. Oh my God, what a battle. And it looks like Greco might hold on to it. You know he doesn't. Zeus gets the position back. Amazing racing out of these two drivers. Is now their nose to tail through the S section.
While that was happening up front, the battle for 7th really heated up. As they headed into Sector 3, they were going for double and triple undercuts, and it looked like Pecan might have gotten together with Glen Coco, and Coco lit up the wheels and nosed it into the tire barriers. He is currently in the pits getting repairs.
And while we were talking about all of that, Sinister Owl got a move done onto Breezy. So Sinister is up in a P2 now. But Breezy will have the DRS. Sinister going defensive. Breezy looking to the inside up towards this hairpin. Let's see if he can get the move to stick. Sinister trying to go all the way around the outside of the hairpin. He will still have the inside for this next corner. And he's still there. Breezy has a very good run around the outside, and he will take the position back from Sinister out. Sinister trying to do the same thing that Greco did, but just not quite good enough of a run out of that corner. So Breezy will take back P2. And while these two battle, Snipper Pig's running away out front.
Tell you what, Pecan, after his drive-through penalty coming out in 12th, he's already worked his way back up to 7th and is working on Dollar Hyde now, up in 6th position.
Greco misses the pit entry and goes into the wall. The tires. Huge disappointment for Greco, and Sinister Owl up the inside of Breezy at turn 1, and Sinister Owl will make the move stick. So Greco into the wall. He has to get a new front wing. So that will put Pecan all the way back up into P6 once again. But after he gets by Dahl,
from Pecan.
But after he gets past Dahl, there's going to be a big gap for him to try to get through to the next driver, Zeus, in P4. I will say Dollar Hyde is on those medium compound tires, and he started outside of the top 10, and he's already found himself up into P5 just from staying clean. And Ref Josh in P7. Great driving out of those two drivers to come up through the field like they have. Sinister Owl and Breezy once again battling it out. Breezy looking to the inside towards the hairpin, but not quite close enough to make any sort of a move. He's still on the outside, though, but Sinister Owl does clear him. But Breezy gets an amazing run through the middle of the corner. Oh, my God. Breezy gets an amazing overtake done there on Sinister Owl. Sinister sends the Ballard on the apex to Narnia as Breezy goes around the outside and takes the position.
And guys, Pecan's back into the top 5. He used DRS and got a beautiful run around Dollar Hyde on the back straight.
So Pecan all the way back into the 5th position, but he's going to have to go all the way up to P1 if he wants his title hopes to stay alive, because guess who's in P1? It's Snipper Pig. Now Breezy defending for his life against Sinister Owl. Sinister seems to have some really strong pace here at this part of the GP as these tires are starting to wear. Sinister right on the back of Breezy here through the S's. Can tell his car's really good in that dirty air. He's staying within a few tenths of him. So now they come out of the S's and up, down, and all around towards the hairpin. Sinister looking to the inside, and he will get the move done onto Breezy. So Sinister back up into P2, but Breezy should have the DRS here, so I'm not quite sure if that was the greatest. No! Sinister has DRS. So Sinister left it just late enough to get DRS so that Breezy couldn't get back at him. Wow, what a great first couple of laps.
Yes.
Yeah, coming up on almost quarter distance, and there's still battles all the way throughout the field as the pit cycles for repairs and possible penalties are cycling through. It's jumbling up the field a lot, especially in the mid-pack.
Yeah, this midfield's always very close to this point of the race, and this race is not any exception to that. Sinister Owl really has a lot of pace here. He's pulling away from Breezy and actually got out of the DRS. Or no, he didn't. He was over a second ahead, but it wasn't just quite enough, so Breezy pulls back in a few tenths, about half a second there on Sinister Owl on the main straight, but on through here. His wheel disconnected. It stopped working, and his car went straight into the barriers in the outside wall. Sinister Owl has already gained half a second on Snipper Pig just in the first sector alone. Can tell what kind of setup philosophy these guys have. Snipper Pig pulled about a tenth and a half on that straight on Sinister Owl, so Sinister has a little bit more downforce than Snipper, but Snipper's very good through those S's and through this section, so Snipper Pig and Sinister Owl, that might be a really good battle towards the end of this race, since Sinister has a little bit of oversteer there and loses all that time he gained on this lap.
He's just gotta keep calm and really, look to gain that time and don't make mistakes.
Hefty Bag is in the wall in the final corner on the main straight. He spun coming out of the final corners. Now he has to turn it around and not get in the way of any other drivers. He safely pulls to the off of the track and allows the other drivers through. Breezy goes into the pit lane. Hefty Bag gets a 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. That's kind of weird. Breezy comes in and gets his set of medium compound tires. And Pecan is back up in at fourth.
Two Mercedes are shaping up to have a heck of a battle as Boaknose lit up the rear tires a little bit coming out of the last corner, and Greco goes to the inside. Teammate just lets him through using the DRS beautifully there. And Greco runs wide, goes for the undercut. And they head side by side into the S's, sort themselves out, and Boaknose keeps the position. Although he just got a 3-second penalty for track limits. Oh, no.
Can't really save him on that one. There, it was
oh, yeah.
very obvious.
Oh, no, they just took each other out.
Spain
and
2016
out of
once
the race.
Again, and Greco was gone. And now Boaknose is pulling off track. What is Boaknose doing here? He's pulling off track to wait to let some people go or something. He's swerving down the straight. I'm not sure what he's doing.
Yeah, he just made contact with Kill the Bird.
Not quite sure what Boaknose is doing here.
Yeah. Very, very weird. And he
Bokonos intentionally wrecks Kill the Birdman and then stops right in front of Real Space Hero. Bokonos, some very dirty driving tactics here as Sinister Owl and Zeus both come into the pit lane for their first pit stop of the race.
I mean, it's nothing but their own fault. Like, they were racing and they caused the collision, so it's not anybody else's fault. Shouldn't be taken out on anybody else.
Very questionable driving from Bokonos as now he drives directly into the wall, and I guess we don't have to worry about anything more from Bokonos for the rest of this race. Sinister Owl gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. That's going to be huge for this race because it's very close in the top 3. As now there's another crash. Ref Josh and Dollar Hyde have spun in almost exactly the same place as the two Mercedes. At exactly the same place. So now they're trying to rejoin the track, and this is a very dangerous spot. Zeus is far away from these two. The pink racing point of Hefty Bag is right there, but he lets them both through. So now this battle will continue between these two drivers, but Ref Josh has a huge oversteer moment there on those very old soft compound tires. Sniffer Pig going for yet another lap on those softs. He might be doing a one-stop here. He might be going for a one-stop because Sinister Owl just pit in to try to get the undercut, and he is absolutely flying on those new softs, and Sniffer really needed to pit that lap. Pecan will be coming to the pits out of P2. Very great comeback drive for him, so he'll be coming into the pits for his first pit stop. Sinister Owl and Breezy very close on track, but Breezy not quite close enough to do anything. He's about a half a second behind after this DRS straight. Now Pecan gets shuffled down into P5, but a great recovery from him. But now he's around 15 seconds off of Sinister Owl in P2. His Hefty Bag retires from the session, continues his retirement streak here in the UDL F1 League. Huge disappointment for him. Started in P3, it was looking so promising, but everything happened all at once.
The thing that I'm most curious about is the whole situation with Bokonos.
Breezy flies past Sinister Owl on the back straight with that soft. Breezy might be going for that same strategy he pulled last week where he went soft, medium, soft. That's turned out to be a master stroke of a strategy, so if he's doing it again, it's going to be very good for them. And Sniffer Pig finally pits. He's going to lose a ton of time to these drivers out in front of him. Let's see what kind of tires he puts on. And he will be going to the mediums, so I'm not sure if he's doing a one-stop or if he just decided to stretch out that stint, but very long stint from him as now Breezy and Sinister have already passed him. Actually, no, Sniffer Pig's coming out now, but Breezy and Sinister fly by, so Sniffer Pig loses about 4 seconds there, and now he will be relegated down into P3.
Tell you what, Breezy just set the fastest lap of that race. He knows it's go time. He's got pressure from Sinister.
If Breezy can just break this DRS, and Sinister Owl gets another time penalty. So Sinister Owl now has 6 seconds in time penalty here. This is not good for his race. Sinister Owl, if he wants to win this race, he's going to have to be 6 seconds ahead of the next best driver. I just don't know if that's going to be possible.
Yeah, right now that penalty will almost put him off of the podium as they run.
As now Sinister Owl flies past Breezy and will pull into P1 here, but he's really going to have to drive fast to get away from Breezy and Sniffer Pig behind.
So we have a message from Bokonos that his family friend did not understand and ripped the controller out of his hand.
Very interesting, but
Got a move from Bossman on Space Hero. They touch wheels side to side coming off the back straight. No damage, but they still continue. Been watching this battle for a couple laps as they go side by side again, coming into the triple apex right-hander. And Bossman gets the position.
Great late move there from Bossman to pull up into P7 and get past Real Space Hero. Bossman on a great recovery drive after getting put down all the way to P12 and having to pit early for wing damage. He's already back up into P7 and looking for more. So now the top three are coming down to the hairpin. Ref Josh puts in the fastest lap of the race on his sauce with 1:35.690. Now let's see what happens this time around. Breezy with the DRS on Sinister. Will Sinister go defensive? No, he will not. So Sinister confident that he was far enough ahead, and he was correct. So Breezy staying behind for now. Sinister Owl holding on to that P1. Stiffer Pig behind has 3-lap fresher tires than Breezy and 2-lap fresher tires than Sinister. This is shaping up to be a really good battle here for the lead for the rest of this GP. That's for sure.
Yes, it's been like that the entire race.
Can only imagine had Pecan not jumped the start, he would most likely be in this battle as well. We know how much this means to Pecan here. But Pecan just felt all the pressure and made that mistake at the start, and that mistake might just cost him his championship hopes unless something happens to Stiffer Pig.
Anything can happen in this. Stiffer Pig could have a retirement. I don't think it's likely, but you know, it could happen.
Well, look at all the action we've had. We're not even halfway through this race yet, and we've still got battles. Three-way battle for 7th still going on. They're all within DRS range, and they all bunch up at the end of the back straight every lap. And all three of them are slowly starting to reel in 6th place of Kill the Bird.
As Breezy makes yet another move down the inside of Sinister Owl, goes a little bit wide, so Sinister will have the outside line into the next corner. We'll try to hold it around the outside. Breezy goes a little bit wide. Sinister Owl comes through. Now Stiffer Pig is on the outside of Breezy. And so let's see if Stiffer Pig can get the cut back on him. Stiffer Pig trying to do exactly what Greco did earlier, go around the outside, but not to be. But he will get the undercut on him, and he will be going, and he gets the position on him. So Stiffer Pig, great overtake there onto Breezy to take away that P2. And now he's going to be hunting down Sinister for that precious P1 that he held before.
And we do have 2 full teams retired at this point, with Drew Yu retiring.
Once again, I feel like Drew Yu's just in these races to beat Hefty Bag, and Stiffer Pig misses the braking zone there into turn 1, and Breezy gets back by him. So Stiffer Pig, right after that amazing move, makes a mistake there, and Breezy gets right back through into P2. Sinister Owl, this is the best chance he has at breaking away from these drivers. If he can just pull a couple more tenths through this S section, he will be able to get out of DRS, but just not quite enough. About 9.5 tenths into this braking zone, not quite enough for him to be out of that DRS. But he won't be under threat at the end of this pit straight. Or at the end of the back straight, sorry.
Been very interesting throughout this race.
This is definitely shaping up to be one of the best races of the season, especially for the front, that's for sure.
Tell you what, that battle for 7th is... Bossman, once he got past Real Space Hero, he has managed to pull away and is reeling in Kill the Bird. He's only about half a second off of DRS range. And this last lap on the front straight, Ano's opened up DRS. Real Space Hero defended to the inside and made the outside pass around turn 1 work for Ano's.
And Sinister Owl goes a little bit wide there and loses about a tenth See if Breezy's going to have a good run here. He's closing in, but not quite close enough to go for the dive into turn 1. He'll stay put in P2 for now with Snipperpig in P3. So as it stands, after 15 laps of racing here at COTA, Sinister Owl is leading this race. Breezy in P2 and Snipperpig in P3. Those are your podium positions, and they're all right here in camera view. Beautiful shot here. As we watch all these drivers come around here, lies Sebastian Vettel's rear suspension. Breezy might be going for the one stop. I'm not quite sure. Sinister's definitely going to pit, but Breezy and Snipperpig might be going for the one stop here. Not quite sure. So it'll be interesting to see what the strategies play into as Breezy takes first place back from Sinister Owl. Snipperpig right on the back of these two. If anybody makes a mistake, he's there to jump on it and take both of those positions. Wow, what a race. If you want to...
Very
Sinister is now pulled into the pit lane after only 6 laps on the softs, so he hit exactly how many laps he wanted until he got on the medium stint. So now he'll be going into the pits, getting those medium compound tires to finish out this race. Let's just see what the strategies play out for with Snipperpig and Breezy. If you would like to join the league, add myself, John, or Pecan on PlayStation. My gamer tag is UDL_damage. Add me on PlayStation. I'll tell you all the details to get into the league. If you would like to join the league, Kill the Birdman gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting.
Heading into pit lane, that happened. That's a real shame because he was just holding off Bossman. They were in a close battle, so that'll affect that.
I do have to apologize to one person that did reach out to me. I have been busy this week, but I will get back to you soon.
Breezy comes across, goes to the inside. Snipperpig going around the outside, but not quite going to be able to make it stick. Breezy holds on to P1 for now, but Snipperpig has 3-lap fresher tires, and he'll... yes, that's perfectly fine right there. You can put that in, and that'll bring me up.
Dillsack lit up the rear tires coming out of turn 1 and nosed it into the Armco barrier. He is continuing, but does have pretty severe wing damage to that car.
Yeah, he's got a front left plank now, so he's really going to be limping it back to the pit lane to get yet another front wing change. Unlucky day for the Toro Rosso driver. So now we're on lap 18 of this US GP. Pecan around 1.5 seconds behind his teammate Zeus. That would be the battle for P3. Sinister Owl in P5 after making his pit stop, his final pit stop. So now he's going to be charging, trying to get as much lap time as possible to be able to catch up to all these drivers. So now Snipperpig and Breezy once again will be coming down this back straight. Snipperpig will be looking to open up his DRS and make a move stick. He got a really good exit out of that hairpin. Let's see if he can do anything this time around. Breezy goes defensive, but Snipperpig just not quite close enough. Snipperpig, as we know, is a very passive driver, so he will definitely take his time, especially because he knows he's in a championship winning position. Pecan and Zeus. Pecan is now within the DRS range of Zeus. So Zeus, I would assume, will just let Pecan through here, as Pecan has a much bigger picture to go for than Zeus. Dollar Hyde has spun at the end of the S's, goes into the gravel trap and hits the wall, so huge disappointment for Dollar in that Williams. See if Pecan can get through for P3 here from his Ferrari teammate. He's got the DRS, and yeah, Zeus just turns off his ERS modes and lets Pecan through. So Pecan will be up into P3 now. See if he can make this recovery drive happen and catch up that 15-second gap to Snipper Pig and Breezy in front of him.
The question is, will Snipper Pig and Pecan have to pit again?
That's a really good question. I'm not quite sure if they're going to pit again or not. Snipper Pig could go all the way to the end. As now Snipper Pig looks to the outside of Breezy. He has that DRS. Breezy comes back across to hold him to the outside, and Breezy will hold on to the position. Great defensive driving here from Breezy in the Williams. Sinister Owl is catching the two Ferraris at a fast rate of knots. Sinister now only 2 seconds behind. Last lap he was 3 seconds behind, and it's closing fast. So Sinister will be through these two drivers soon, and will be chasing after the top two here in the next few laps.
One thing to keep in mind is don't forget that Sinister has those 6 seconds in post-race penalties. Right now that won't affect his position, but should the leaders pit again, which it looks like they might, depending on how their strategy plays out, it will affect his position as far as where he finishes at the line versus on the sheets.
If Breezy and Snipper do pit again, they will most likely pit here in this lap or the next lap to get about a 6 or 7 lap stint on those soft compound tires. It's Boss Ben and Honos both coming to the pit lane with each other to change out their tires. They're both on the one-stop strategy. Well, Boss Man's technically on a two-stop strategy, and so is Honos, but they both came in to get a new front wing earlier on in this race. So now Snipper Pig looking to the outside once again, going into the hairpin, but he will make the move stick. But Breezy sends it up the inside. Snipper Pig will have the cutback on him, and Breezy gets a bad exit out of that corner, and Snipper Pig will take over the lead here in this USGP, and let's see if he can hold on to it here. He has three lap fresher tires than Breezy, and that's just going to keep weighing in more and more as this race goes on.
Even though Dollarhide pitted this lap, Dollarhide, Glencoe, and Ref Josh are having a dandy battle through Sector 3. They changed, between the three of them, they changed 5 positions throughout the third sector before Dollarhide ducked into pit lane. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, whether or not Glencoe and Ref Josh pit again.
Honos is going for a move on Boss Man.
Honos might just make this one stick. He's got DRS, and he has flown past. So Honos up in a P7 for that Alfa Romeo team. Now Breezy right on the back of Snipper Pig for P1. He is very close through this S section. Jump back here to Sinister and Zeus. Sinister is really going to be trying to lay down a gauntlet here and go as fast as possible. First, he has to get by the 2 Ferrari drivers if he wants any chance of being back onto that podium. I have a feeling these drivers are going to be going for the 1-stop and not the 2-stop. As now Breezy goes to the outside and will take the position. Great use of DRS and ERS deployment there. And Breezy will take over P1 once again from Snipper Pig here in this United States GP at COTA.
Zeus goes defensive right at the beginning of the back straight to try to keep Sinister behind him. Doesn't work, though. He leads right, leaves the door open, and Sinister sneaks through underneath at the end of the back straight. As Glencoe has left the session.
Glencoe disconnects from the session. He's known to have a little bit of issues with disconnections, so hopefully he can get back into the lobby as quick as possible.
I do have
but
to
Sinister
say,
with a great move there to get past Zeus.
I do have to say, Snipper Pig his patience is really working well for him here, not making any risky moves. He knows he has the championship in the bag if he just holds it off.
Breezy has a huge chip on his shoulder after last week at Mexico, battling for those podium positions and making a huge mistake, sending himself and Bossman spinning into the grass. The two of them did have a racing incident, but that mistake between the both of them really hurt their races and costed Breezy a potential win. So Breezy's really going to be looking for getting this win in the bag. As now Snipper Big looks to the inside. That's the most aggressive move I've ever seen him take. Let's see if he makes this dummy work. He's holding on to it. Breezy holding it on around the outside. Breezy will now have the inside for this double apex right-hander. And Breezy might just hold on to it. Snipper Pig still on the inside for the double apex left.
Incredible driving.
Breezy's going to be going for the undercut on it, but Snipper Pig will hold on to the position, and Snipper Pig gets up into P1. A great overtaking maneuver from Snipper. Awesome dummy down through there. Down the back straight into that hairpin, and wonderful driving between the both of those drivers. Keep from making any contact. This is some great racing here from these two drivers. Super Pig wants to win the championship on the top step of the podium, and Breezy wants to win this race, just show everybody that he's got what it takes. Of course, he has already won a race here, and it was between Snipper and Breezy back at Monza. Breezy did, in fact, win that race in a very close race with him and Snipper Pig. And we might just have a replay of that race here today.
Incredible driving between these two.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Now Breezy will be looking to get another overtake done onto Snipper Pig. Some amazing battle here for P1. Snipper Pig goes defensive, goes very far over to the left-hand side. Breezy looks to the outside, but Snipper Pig will hold on to it for now. He'll run him to the outside as far as he can, but Snipper Pig will hold on to P1 for now.
I think this is the most offensive and the most offensive driving I've ever seen Snipper Pig do.
Snipper Pig clearly really wants this win. With only 5 laps left in this GP, whenever they cross the line, it's getting to the very short stages of this race. So,
right after I say Snipper Pig's patience is working for him.
Absolutely. Let's see if Breezy will have a good enough run up towards turn 1. It doesn't look like it, so Breezy will be holding in line here in P2.
Couple other battles on track. Dollarhide just got around Glen Coco, and Zeus and Sinister Owl are still within DRS range of each other as they head up into turn 1. Nothing happening there yet, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Sinister Owl not making very good use of those mediums. Zeus really holding on to the back of him.
It should be pointed out that if no mistakes really happen between these top two, Pecan does not seem like he's going to have the pace to be able to catch up and make a move before the end of this.
Although, who would have predicted that he would have still gotten a podium after a jump start? So, wonderful recovery drive from him, although he's only 2 seconds ahead of the battle with Sinister Owl.
Right now, it's looking like my top 3 position are coming true, not necessarily the order, but...
Zeus dives down late at the end of the back straight, doesn't quite get the pass done, going for the undercut in Sector 3, though. Still can't quite make it work.
Good defending there from Sinister to hold on to P4. But I would really think that with those 7-lap fresher tires, Sinister would be pulling away with no problem from Zeus. But that DRS is really helping Zeus stay in this battle.
Breezy not letting Snipper Pig get away for a second.
Snipper Pig makes a little bit of a mistake there in the exit of that corner, hits the grass, and Breezy takes full advantage. He's already on the diffuser of Snipper Pig. He's definitely going to fly right past with this DRS zone, but Snipper Pig is a very good exit there. But it's going to be no match for this DRS. Breezy just looked to the inside. Snipper Pig doesn't even attempt to defend because he already knows his fate. So Breezy back up on point. Snipper Pig relegated back into P2. Great racing between these two drivers.
Yeah, extremely clean.
And I mean, this is shaping up to be one of the best races of the UDL F1 League. And this is absolutely intense racing here for the first place position between these two drivers. Sinister Owl might have made a massive blunder going for this 2-stop instead of just going for the 1-stop like all the rest of these drivers have. So he threw away a good chance at winning this race, or at least having a good podium, to being down in P4 and most likely P5 after his time penalties. Oh, wow. Now, once again, they're coming through the S section. Snipper Pig right on the back of Breezy. Breezy makes the mistake this time around, so Snipper Pig gets a very good run on him. He'll be looking to the inside at the hairpin, but just pulls right back in line. Now he'll have the DRS down this back straight, and Snipper Pig will most likely get this move done. It'll be exactly the same as Breezy on him, except Snipper Pig already alongside. So Snipper Pig used a lot of ERS there coming out of that corner, and he will take P1 back from Breezy by the looks of it. But Breezy's fighting it. He's on the outside now, but Snipper Pig just shuts the door on him there, runs him out wide, and Snipper Pig takes back over P1 with only 2.5 laps left in this race.
Meanwhile, Zeus pops out at the end of the back straight again, still going for that inside line as Sinister runs wide, but is still alongside, has the inside for the next corner, keeps the position as Zeus again goes for the undercut, goes for a double undercut.
Great move there from
amazing
Zeus.
move.
See if he can make it stick. Now
he's on the outside. It's going to be tough. Oh, Sinister
he's
runs
the
wide.
Undercut, though. Sinister goes wide. He's going to have the undercut on him, and he might just make this move stick around the outside.
Oh,
amazing move there from Zeus.
Still hasn't given up.
But now Sinister looking to the inside here in the final corner. Still side by side. A little bit of wheel banging there, but I don't really care. Sinister will have DRS up into turn 1, but Zeus using a lot of ERS deployment there. Sinister really driving it deep into that corner. He hits the apex early and tries to hold on to it. Zeus trying to get that undercut on him, but Sinister Owl looks like he might hold on to the position here going
Absolutely
into the
amazing battle. Great driving by both drivers.
That was insane.
It should be said Sinister does still have the penalty, but the race on track is still incredible to watch.
This is definitely going to take my vote for the best race of the year, bar any sort of incident.
As the leaders
all
are
the
still
clean
battling,
battles we've had.
As they want
Snipper
their
Pig
cut
on the inside. Breezy going around the outside. Let's see if Breezy can make this one stick. Zipper's still
Replay
there.
Of the lap ago.
To the inside, through the left hander. He's going for the inside. Breezy has to run around the outside. And now, let's see if Snipper Pig can get the undercut here through this long right-hander, but Breezy might just hold on to it here. And he does. So Breezy in P1 now, coming around the final corner to start the final lap. Oh my God.
While we were busy watching that, Zeus got back around Sinister on the back straight as Kill the Birdman has a quick spin and continue in Sector 2 at the end of the S's.
Snipper Pig driving it a little deep in there. He's going to be looking for the pass on the final straight with DRS.
This is going to be an intense battle here. Snipper with a little bit of a mistake there in the middle part of these S's, loses a couple of tenths to Breezy in that dirty air. Breezy's going to be trying his hardest to pull as much of a gap as possible to make it as hard as possible on Snipper Pig to get by. Breezy, though, on those 19-lap-old tires, but he's making them work. Snipper Pig on those 16-lap-old tires, and these drivers have been pushing as hard as possible on these tires. As now, for the final time, Snipper Pig opens up his DRS. Breezy goes defensive, but Snipper does not care. He's going to the inside, and Snipper Pig might just make the move stick. He almost has him cleared, but Breezy's going to be going for the undercut, but Snipper Pig puts his car in the middle of the track and blocks Breezy off. Now Breezy's going to have to come up with some sort of a way to get by here. Will he look to the inside into this left-hander? He does, and he might just take the position away. He pushes Snipper Pig out wide, but Snipper Pig has the inside line for the right-hander. And he will not allow. Oh my God!
Oh,
Breezy!
He spins!
Oh, they made contact.
He
Snipper Pig spins. And now Snipper Pig's gonna have to try to get it going as fast as possible. He almost gets collected by the Toro Rosso. If Pecan can't get by, see what Pecan is. He's going through that corner now. If Pecan gets by, he will still have championship hopes. This is gonna be a huge battle here for P2 as Breezy comes across the line.
It is the battle for the championship right here.
Is now. Pecan looking to the inside. Will he get it done?
Snipper,
No!
Snipper Pig
holds on to P2. Snipper Pig holds on to P2 by 78 thousandths of a second and will win the World Drivers' Championship here in the UDL F1 League. Snipper Pig.
What a race.
Incredible.
Amazing. Amazing racing there. Congratulations to Breezy for winning definitely the most exciting race